back with another upgrade for the Raptor. The new setup is just about ready to be put on the truck, so I'm kind of tidying up a few loose ends as for things that I would like to do, or in this case, kind of need to do. So the new setup is going to completely block the rear glass, so my rearview mirror will basically be useless. So I actually got a replacement for it. This is a Wolfbox dash cam. It's the kind of dash cam that normally straps on to your old or existing rearview mirror. And in this case, I actually got a kit that is going to completely replace the rearview mirror on the Raptor. Luckily, with this truck, the garage door controls are not on the rearview mirror, they're on the sun visor. So I'm not losing anything by taking it off. This is going to allow me to actually see what's behind the truck and not just be looking at a blank piece of glass. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed and get it installed in the truck. All right, a couple tech specs while we're unboxing this. This does have a 4K front camera, which is basically the one that you see on the back of the actual rearview mirror. And it has a 2.5K rear camera. So for my situation, what I'm actually using this for, it's going to be a big help. I've seen a lot of these setups used in off-roading applications where you can't see out of your back window. So if you have a spare tire there, or if you have any sort of panel there, or any pouches or anything, and you just can't see anything, this is kind of the ultimate replacement. I'm not necessarily using this for a dash cam functionality, but it does do that very well. So here's the actual mirror. As you can see, it just looks like a normal rearview mirror. It does have some reflection to it, so if you do turn the screen off, you can still see out of it like a mirror. But this entire thing, it does have a 12-inch screen on it. Here is the backup camera, or the rear camera. Here is the included cigarette lighter power adapter, which I am actually not going to use. Comes with a user manual, comes with a pry tool for trim pieces on the interior, comes with a cleaning cloth. This is a mount for the rear camera. This is the GPS box, so when using it for dash cam functionality, this will basically just tell you your speed. And then it does come with the straps to attach it to your mirror. All right, so with that stuff out of the way of the actual mirror itself, or dash cam, whatever you want to call it, this is an additional kit that I got that basically allows me to get rid of the straps on the back to put it on your existing rearview mirror and attach it simply just like a mirror to your windshield, just as you would a normal rearview mirror. So this is going to be my rearview mirror. It won't be going over my old one. This is the Wolfbox hardwire kit. So I actually have one of these on my existing dash cams, so it really should be pretty simple because I just have to plug it in exactly where the other one was. And then one other nice thing about this is that the connector for the power is actually USB-C. So, and then for the new setup that's going on the back of the Raptor, I got an extended backup cable. So for the camera itself, this is a 33-foot long cable, and it should give me all of the room I need to run cleanly the rear camera up to the front. All right, first things first, we need to attach the plate that we are going to put onto the actual back of the camera to the piece that actually goes to your windshield. It appears that you can put it on anyway, so does come with 4 little screws, so let's go ahead and throw those on. All right, and just like that, we have the piece that connects it to the windshield. Coming up next, we need to actually attach this to this. So to do that, we just need to peel these little pads off. And I will put links for all of this stuff down in the description. I basically got this entire setup off of Amazon. So you guys can get this for yourself if this is something you are interested in doing. With that being said, undo the screw, and we can now pull the little top piece out and then slide this guy off. Now, this existing piece is going to go back in here, and we will just repeat the steps. These are very little screws, so do not drop them, even though we won't be reusing those, so you can drop those, but do not drop the new ones. All right. So now that is basically going to set like that. I had heard from one of the reviews online of these that it is best to add a little bit of distance in between here and the plate. So they said to reuse these and just poke a hole in it for the screw itself. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall these of whatever sticky is left to them. All right, I'm just taking my little micro #1 screwdriver and kind of pushing it through the hole and twisting it. And it is just creating a little hole. I mean, there will be some resistance, but not a huge deal, not super hard. You just kind of find where the hole is under the rubber grommet, if you want to call it that, and just keep twisting, and it is making a little hole. All right. Now we are going to take the shortest of the screws that come with it. And again, these are super small, so do your best to not drop these. Go ahead and get them all lined up. Because they are so small, just keep that in mind when you're tightening these. You don't need to go crazy. Obviously, you don't want it to come off either, though. And just like that, we now have our new rear mirror. As you can see up top here, there is the memory card slot, there is your GPS port, your rear camera port, and then USB-C, which is power. And it actually comes with a 64 gig memory card as well. I didn't know that, so that's a bonus. So now we get to do the fun task of taking the old rear mirror off the truck. All right, so different day. I got pissed off at this yesterday, so I decided to leave and sleep on it and come back. But I ended up getting it. But I will show you guys how I did this. So I'm not sure what makes and models of vehicles this works for, but this is how to get this one off. So this is kind of hard to see, but right back here, there is a little hole where a pick can go. So I have a tool like this, and basically that fits right in that hole, so you can bend this down. So you have to be really careful, obviously. You don't want to break your windshield, but in theory, you have to just think of it like a tab on an electrical connector. You have to bend it down and then use force and pull up on it. So if everything goes well, in theory, you can bend it down a little bit and pull it off. Now, I was having some issues. It didn't really want to come off. So I used a dead blow, just a plastic hammer, not a metal one, obviously, and gave it very light taps as I was prying down on it. And eventually it did move a little bit. But it's tricky. You have to bend down to get the tab over the metal thing, but you can't pry down on it while you're sliding it off because that's creating too much tension, so it won't come off. So in theory, you have to pry down on it and then grab it by the base and slide it off. So just like that. And now it is free. So now the only thing is to unplug the mirror, and now your factory rearview mirror is off. So now we can go ahead and hide this wire because we won't be using this anymore. And this is the wire for my old dash cam. So I will go ahead and swap this out for the new wire. I'm literally just going to take this out and run the new wire, which is USB-C, not mini USB, I believe. It's not micro, but it's the older style one, which was my old dash cam, which was a Rexing dash cam, looked like that. This dash cam is great. Honestly, I didn't have any issues with it, but I just wanted the functionality of this one for the rear camera, and also having a dash cam is nice as well. So I'm going to swap this wire out. I'm going to hide this just up in the headboard and go from there. All right, so like I said, since I am literally just replacing this with a different wire, but it's basically going to be the same, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of half run this wire while I'm taking the old one out, so it just follows the same path. All right, so there's the old one out. I have it run down through here and zip tied as well to be neat and tidy. While I have this one almost pulled out, I'm actually going to grab some electrical tape and tape the new wire to the bottom of this and then pull it back up so it just follows the exact same route. All right, and now we have the new wire up through the same route as that. All right, so now the old one is out, and let's open up this fuse panel and plug it into the existing wires. Now I'm going to leave this off temporarily so I can get the correct amount of wire and zip tie it all up like I had it before. All right, so I need to remove this guy to get to where I have that this little box of the old one. So this right here is, yeah, luckily it's the same color wires and everything. So I'm literally, and these do have little labels on them. So red is accessory and yellow is constant battery. So I know that the fuses that I have are tapped good already. So I am actually just going to cut the ends off these and crimp these into place exactly where the old ones were. Go ahead and put this cover back on. Okay, so now that we're all done down here, we can go ahead and just do a quick test to see if this works. In theory, if I plug this in right now, this should work. All right, and look at that. It does indeed work. So I'm going to go through with putting the rest of it back together. And by the way, this is what the inside of this looks like. Let's get in some light so you can see here. But when you stuck that pick in there, this is what you were prying against. So you just had to get this little metal tab up over that metal clip right there. So that's what you were getting off. This new one does not exactly have a metal tab on it like that, but it does, if you can see here, it does have a little screw that tightens it up to that tab. So that way it applies pressure and doesn't wiggle around on you. Let's go ahead and get this guy mounted. Same concept. Slide down. And we will tighten this. I'm going to call it a set screw. Now, that guy is on there and not going anywhere. So that is now the new rearview mirror. So let's go ahead and run this wire. Kind of left it loose a little bit. Tilt the mirror down. And I know it appears that I'm running it the wrong way, but the backup camera has to plug in right next to it, and it's a 90-degree USB-C. So unfortunately, you have to kind of face it the wrong way there. That is definitely 4K. That actually looks incredibly good. It's very widescreen too. So, and this is all touchscreen. So, as you can see, that's all that. But, yeah. So, this is already recording. And that's all good. So, I can turn the truck off. And when the backup camera is hooked up to this, it'll actually split it, or I can do always the back camera on there so it isn't super distracting while I'm driving looking at what's in front of me. And you can also turn this off. You can hit this button on the bottom, which will shut the screen off all in itself so you don't have to look at it. Let's go ahead and fast forward a couple weeks to the backup camera being installed. And I'm not going to actually call it a backup camera. It is more of a reverse camera or rear camera, because it definitely does not replace the need for a backup camera, at least where mine is mounted. Maybe if you mounted it a little bit lower by a license plate or something like that, it could replace a backup camera, but if your vehicle has a factory backup camera, it definitely doesn't replace it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick overview now that the camera is installed, so I can show you guys everything that this can do, and you can see how it looks with it installed on the truck. So I'm going to go ahead and start the truck up. That is the truck dinging, by the way. It was something I was slightly concerned about, so it's something I'm going to bring up really quickly. Now, with all the reviews that I watched online, nobody really covered it, but you can actually mute this so it doesn't play any chime or, you know, any noises for when you touch the screen or anything. So You can shut all that off. It is completely silent, as you heard, beyond the normal Ford dinging. It doesn't make any noise, so you would never really know. So first things first, if you do want to shut this off, it's becoming too distracting or whatever it may be, there is one singular button on the bottom. If you hit that, it just kind of goes into normal mirror mode, and as you can see, it does have a reflection on it. So that is how that works, and then to turn it back on, you just press the button once. So as you can see, when it starts up, it just defaults into what you had it on last, and I have kept it on the rear setting. So this, again, is my main purpose, was to replace my to replace my rear view mirror with this. So that is the purpose that it is serving. So you can swipe between the different views. So as you can see now, the front, out the camera on the back of this mirror itself, the front is on the left, the backup, or the rear view mirror is on the right. Go one more time and it swaps it over, so now you can see out the front and the back, and then one more time is just specifically purely out the front. So we will go back to this setting. Now with this one, either the front or the back, you can adjust what angle you want to actually be shown on the screen. So I would recommend doing this when you're actually on the road, because you can see kind of what angle you would normally have your rearview mirror set to if you could see out the back of the vehicle. And it is a pretty wide angle, so it's genuinely pretty impressive. What I've figured out after driving this for a couple weeks is that if a vehicle is coming up on you and it is about right there, they are right on your bumper right there. So it is a 270 degree view, I believe. I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong, but let's go ahead and go through this really quick. So if you go into the settings, you can adjust the resolution if you want. Obviously, everybody's just going to keep it at the highest possible. Split time is how long you want the rotating splits for the dash cam functionality. So 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and that will be its loop. So when something does get saved, it will save that 1, 3, or 5 minute loop. Video encoding, that's just going to be what format the video is in. You can adjust it to record sound from the screen itself or not. G-sensor sensitivity is going to be if you were to get into a wreck or if you hit a deep pothole or something like that, you can adjust the sensitivity of this. The parking time lapse, you can adjust that, because I do have it set so that if it, feels a G-force or somebody, backs into me when it's parked, it will record that. So flicker is going to be the hertz of the screen. Screensaver mode is basically, if you do find this to be distracting, you can turn the screensaver on, so that way after X amount of time, it will shut the screen off. It won't shut it off like this, but it will shut it off in just making it black. So it will keep the time and your speed up on the screen. So click tone is what I shut off to make it so it doesn't make noise when you actually press the screen. Volume is what I turned all the way down to make this not make any noise. Screen brightness, it's kind of self-explanatory. Display mode is what we swiped in between before. Rear image adjustment is you can flip it vertically and horizontally to make it right. So, if you install this and what's on your right is actually on your left, you can flip it to make it right there. Time display is, you can turn that on or off. I actually find it kind of handy to have on the screen because it shows the date as well. You can set 24-hour or 12-hour. You can do daylight savings time, time format. That's just all in making sure that the time is set correctly. Reverse mode is going to be you can, with the camera itself, when you hook it up or install it in the back, it does give you one wire to hook up to your reverse light in your tail light, so that this knows when you put the vehicle into reverse. So this is just going to be adjusting the display for when you actually put it in reverse, whether it comes on to full screen or panorama. Fatigue reminder, it says when you've been driving for a long time, the recorder will remind you to rest every 2 hours. Sounds annoying to me. Speed unit, you can adjust between miles per hour. Time zone settings kind of goes with the time functionality. GPS information is going to show you how many satellites this is connecting to, as well as your latitude and longitude. GPS display, you can turn that on or off. Language, obviously, format SD card, reset factory settings, and about. So this is just showing that it is the Wolfbox G900 and the firmware. So that is basically what the, and you can, just a fun fact, you can actually zoom if you go on the right hand side, and on the left hand side is where you adjust up and down. So that is how that looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and drive for you a little bit so you can see how it looks actually while moving down the road, because it is a camera, so it is different than having, you know, a standard rearview mirror. But I'll try and do a little bit of a wide angle here so you can see what it looks like. But I'll go ahead and get out of this parking lot here and get on the road. But it definitely, to be 100% honest with you, it does replace a rear view mirror. I would definitely call this a true replacement if you can't see out your glass. But like I said earlier, it does not replace a backup camera in my personal opinion. So as you can see right here, it does show my speed and what direction I'm going. And then over here, it does show the time and date. So that is super convenient, but this is basically how it looks like while you are actually driving down the road. And I'll go ahead and swap views so you can see what the split view looks like. Sorry, it is a little dark out right now, but you can at least see what it looks like in the dark, because that is important as well. And then just the front is next, but this is how I keep it normally. So this is looking out the back, just as you would for a rearview mirror. And again, if it is too distracting, you can always hit this button, and it does continue to record after you hit that button, by the way. So right here, it is showing that it is recording in 4K front, 2.5K in the back. That is, I have it set to a 3-minute loop. And then let me go ahead and turn around here. If you touch the screen right here, you can tell it to stop recording. So that's what that does, and as you can see, the red dot goes away up there. So that is stop recording. Start recording again. This right here is if you want to take a photo, and when you do hit that button, it takes a photo of both front and back cameras. If you see something and you want to save it so that it doesn't get recorded over, you can hit the emergency button, and it comes up with this yellow progress bar, and it's basically recording an emergency video now at this point. So I can stop that. Do you want to exit emergency recording? Yes. So right here, you can actually play back all of your stuff. So front normal album, this is going to be the stuff that it records over in its loops once the memory card gets full. So going back, this was one of my trips. You can see that it does just take video and it does display the info. So it's latitude and longitude coordinates, as well as your speed, the model of the dash cam, and then the date and time. So that is very cool there. The photo, as you can see, this is the photo that I literally just took from the front camera, and then all the same menus are for the back camera as well. So these are all of the recordings, and I want to say that was probably the one that we watched, but that is the view from that. And then next up is settings, which we were in already, and then you can shut the audio off so it does not record audio, and it shows you right up here audio, and then GPS, I believe, and then that the parking function was on. So that is kind of a quick run through of how this works. Also, really quickly here, I am just going to show you why I do not believe this is a replacement for a backup camera. So this is mounted about cab height on the truck. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in reverse and attempt to back in my spot here. And as you can see, don't get me wrong, it is a good picture. But with that being said, it looks like I am going to hit damn near everything that I am backing up against. You know, it's probably about a 10-foot view, and obviously, sure, I could go down and see, but even the split view, which does show you the entire image, it's just not a good, true, honest, kind of focal point on where you are in relation to everything. So that is why, if you do have a standard backup camera, this definitely isn't a replacement for that, and I don't think it is. But if you do have a normal backup camera in this, or something like this that has one, this isn't going to replace that functionality. All right, so that about does it for this install video. Go ahead and like and subscribe, because there is a huge update that I'm looking at right now that I'm not going to show you guys that's happening to the Raptor. So as you can see, the tailgate is off, but this is getting installed just about a week right now. So hopefully this next week, this will be installed, and I will do an update video for you guys. So go ahead, like and subscribe, and that way you can be on the journey with all my adventures. Have a good day. Thanks, guys.